In today's show, Bitcoin price circles $44,000 as analysts ask, who remains to sell here? In today's show, I'll be breaking down the latest technical analysis. And as Plan B updates us here, Bitcoin weekly RSI looking incredibly bullish. And as Income Shark shares here, daily OBV chart, and people telling me we aren't bottomed out, this is almost a more bullish move than last time when we went from 30 to 60K. Double bottom, very sharp bullish V spike. Price action is just noise, and people are listening too much to crypto Twitter. And as TXMC trade shares here, when I consider everything Bitcoin hodlers withstood in 2021, when I observe global de-risking for 3+ months, when I see 48% of realized caps still held from 3 to 12 months ago after a $33,000 scare, I ask, with all the existing FUD priced in, bearing surprises, who remains to sell here? Also in today's show, traders say $4,000 Ethereum back on the cards if this bullish chart pattern plays out. As Mikhail Van de Pop shares here, Ethereum, just like Bitcoin, was rejected at weekly order block and heavy resistance zone, ending up in a red candle for the week. With the uncertainty arising for the coming week, I'm not expecting this to break and expecting lower tests. And this just in breaking news, here we go. ConocoPhillips, the $100 billion plus oil producer, has announced they are mining Bitcoin in the United States. Eventually, every single major oil producer is going to mine Bitcoin. And as Samson Mao shares here, at least now people should realize why CBDCs are a horrible idea. When you become an enemy of the state, which seems quite easy these days, all your money will be gone. Bitcoin is the separation of money and state. CBDCs are the complete integration of money and state. Also in today's show, FundStrat's Tom Lee explains how Bitcoin could hit $200,000. That's right, crypto bull Tom Lee lays out the risk to $200,000 Bitcoin price action in this new interview with CNBC. I'll be breaking this down for you. Also, more breaking news. Max Keiser and Stacy Herbert have launched Zonte Capital, an investment firm focused on companies paving the road to hyperbitcoinization around the world through strategic investments in startups, building the future of the Bitcoin economy. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much more, in today's show. Here at Crypto News Alerts, I drop a brand new episode every single day. The goal is to get to 100,000 subs, along with a $100,000 Bitcoin price. And if you like getting that crypto, be sure to smash that subscribe button and ring that bell to turn on all notifications to receive daily premium crypto news alerts every single day, just like this. And real quick, before I kick off today's show, today's episode is brought to you by the FTX app, formerly known as Blockfolio. I've been using this app literally every single day for the past few years. It's the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is check my crypto portfolio. I personally love it because it's the easiest and fastest way to buy Bitcoin, Ether, and other top cryptocurrencies with zero fees, truly making this a no-brainer. And they're trusted by over 6 million people worldwide and over 200 plus countries around the world. And they have a special promo they're running right now where you can earn free crypto in every trade over $10. Here's how it works. When you use my referral link in the description right down below, every trade over $10 earns you a chance to get a random free coin. And the more you trade, the more you earn. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead and use my referral link in the description right down below and download the FTX app today. Make some trades, claim your free crypto, and let's start stacking those sats. Shall we? All right, welcome back to another episode of Crypto News Alerts. I'm your host, JV. Let me know how it's going. Make some noise in the comments right down below. Now, Bitcoin broadly held levels at $44,000 and above on February 16th, amid fresh optimism that another macro low would be avoided. And right here, looking at the Bitcoin 1 hour candle chart. Now, data from Cointelegraph Markets Pro and TradingView showed Bitcoin rebounding after an overnight dip to $43,725 on Bitstamp. And in a tightening range, the pair looked increasingly prime for a breakout up or down on Wednesday as support and resistance levels stayed within a short distance a spot. And while fears that a stock correction could cause fresh pain for the bears remain, one analyst in particular argued that there is now hardly any impetus to sell Bitcoin after 3 months a downside. As TXMC trade shares here, when I consider everything Bitcoin hodlers withstood in 2021, when I observe global de-risking for 3+ months, when I see 48% of realized caps still held from 3 to 6 months ago after a $33,000 scare, I ask, with all the existing FUD priced in, bearing surprises, who remains to sell here? Great question. Now, an accompanying chart highlighted coins that last move between 3 to 6 months ago, the run up to the $69,000 all-time high back in November, growing as a proportion of the overall Bitcoin supply, and on balance volume, a metric designed to estimate buy and sell pressure, likewise recovered in a style that popular education resource Income Sharks claim mimic last year's rebound from $30,000, as he shares right here, daily OBV chart, and people telling me we aren't bottomed out. This is almost a more bullish move than last time we went from $30,000 to $60,000. Double bottom, very sharp bullish V spike. Price action is just noise, and people are listening too much on crypto Twitter. These are the conditions where retail waits to buy Bitcoin after it's at an all-time high, and it's all over the news again. It added in a tweet on the day sharing the following: meanwhile, the whales and smart buyers who loaded up near $35,000 will 3x their money if we go to $100,000, and we all know it's inevitable and only a matter of time. And despite the recovery from last month's lows, interest in Bitcoin stayed practically non-existent from mainstream sources, with Google Trends data showing a distinct lack of curiosity from users, which you can see right here in this chart. Now let's discuss some of the altcoin gains. There was better short-term news for some alts, with Ether gaining on the day to cement support above the $3,000 mark. ETH briefly hit 3,200 before returning to consolidate and still at 5-day highs. And before I break down our next story of the day, traders say $4,000 Ethereum back on the cards if this bullish chart pattern plays out. But first, let's take a quick look at the overall crypto market. As you can see, Bitcoin pretty even for the day, maintaining just above $44,200. We have ETH up 1.1%, trading at $3,140. Avalanche up 7%, trading at $95. Mana up 7%, trading at $3.31. And Polkadot also pretty even for the day, trading just under $20. But all right, now let's break down our next story of the day. Global and macroeconomic concerns ranging from rising inflation rates in the US to the prospect of Russia invading Ukraine continue to spark volatility in the financial markets. To the surprise of many analysts, the mood in the crypto market shifted in a positive direction on February 15th after Bitcoin climbed to 44,500 and Ether regained support at 3,100. And data from Cointelegraph Markets Pro and TradingView shows that after bouncing off a low of 28.26 in the early trading hours on February 15th, the price of Ether rallied 11.4% to a daily high of $3,148, which you can see here in the ETH 4-hour chart. Ethereum is in a heavy resistance zone. As crypto analyst McAlvin Napop shares here, Ethereum, just like Bitcoin, was rejected at the weekly order block and heavy resistance zone, ending up in a red candle for the week. With the uncertainty arising for the coming week, I'm not expecting this to break and expecting lower tests. Also, the bulls could exploit the inverse head and shoulders pattern. As Phoenix shares here, we're going to play ETH this way, right? And in this chart, it shows you Ethereum ascending, hitting 3,600, making its way back to that $4,000 mark. Next up, Bitcoin and Ethereum have similar daily charts. A final bit of insight into the long-term price structure for Ethereum was addressed by trader Glenn Goodman, the author of The Crypto Trader. Goodman posted the following charts comparing the formation of an inverse head and shoulders formation on the Bitcoin and Ether charts, noting that the head and shoulders patterns are nearing completion. As he shares here, Bitcoin and Ethereum head and shoulders patterns are nearing completion. A couple of worries: the patterns are a bit sloping and irregular, and there's that small matter of Ukraine. Wars have a tendency to mess up nice chart patterns, which is rather inconsiderate. And before I break down next story of the day, FundStrat's Tom Lee explains how Bitcoin could hit $200,000. But first, let's take a quick look at the overall crypto market cap, sitting just under that $2 trillion milestone with $71 billion in volume in the past 24 hours, with the current Bitcoin dominance at 42.1% and the Ether dominance at 18.8%. And checking out the top gainers within the top 100 cryptocurrencies for the week, you can see Theta up 16%, RLY up 44%, we have AVAX up 6.8%, BIT up 7.7%, and T-Fuel up 12.8%. But all right, now let's break down our next story of the day. The managing partner at Fundstrat Global Advisors, Thomas Lee, forecasted that Bitcoin's USD value can surge to $200,000 in the following years. In his view, many U.S. investors will stop dealing with bonds and change their strategy towards the crypto market. The Wall Street strategist is known for his bullish Bitcoin predictions. 5 years ago, his company Fundstrat published its first report on Bitcoin, envisioning that the asset will be worth between $15,000 and $50,000 by 2022. Now, however, However, not all of his forecasts have come true. Last year, he said $100,000 into year end is pretty reasonable, and Bitcoin finished 2021 at about that $46,000 mark, disappointing many experts who predicted it would indeed hit that six-figure milestone. Now, during his most recent interview for CNBC, Lee outlined an even more optimistic future for the leading digital asset. He argued that the interest rates will cause bond owners to lose money in the future, and as such, many American investors will allocate their capital into alternative assets such as cryptocurrencies that could fuel Bitcoin's price to $200,000. Quoting Tom Lee here, interest rates look like they're set to reverse almost 30 years of declines. That means for the next 10 years, you're guaranteed to lose money owning bonds. It's really going to be tracing its roots to a rotation out of bonds, and it's going to eventually flow into crypto. That's right. And additionally, Lee pointed out the biggest downsides for Bitcoin, the cryptographic hash becoming exposed and the cost of global energy falling to zero are the most significant risk factors for the king of all crypto. Now, JP Morgan, they set their long-term price prediction. They updated it actually to $150,000. I find it hilarious considering their CEO, Jamie Dimon, not too long ago once called Bitcoin a fraud and said it was going to zero. However, now they're quite optimistic. Go figure, Bitcoin game theory in full effect. Their managing director also touched upon the current valuation of the crypto. He thinks its fair value should be around $38,000, basing it on the assumption that Bitcoin is nearly 4 times more volatile than gold. Quoting him here, the biggest challenge for Bitcoin going forward is its volatility and the boom and bust cycles that hinder further institutional adoption. He concluded, now we all know that volatility is nothing more than life force. It's definitely a great thing. That's because we have a free, open, decentralized market. We can't say the same for stocks. We can't say the same for precious metals such as gold or silver. And before I break down our final story of the day with breaking news of Keiser and Stacy Herbert launching Zonte Capital, an investment firm focused on companies paving the road to hyperbitcoinization. But first, I want to remind you to smash that show more button right below this video in the description for a detailed analysis of what's going on in the crypto market. This goes for all 1,000 plus videos right here on my YouTube channel. Also some very helpful resources for you to plug into, including my crypto merch store, now live at merch.cryptonewsalerts.net. Also have a daily letter, which goes out to over 30,000 subscribers every single day. To subscribe, visit letter.cryptonewsalerts.net. Also have a blog I update daily, which could be found at cryptonewsyes.com. Also be sure to smash that subscribe button and ring that bell to turn on all notifications and help support the channel. And of course, you can follow me on all the major podcasting platforms from Spotify to Apple's iTunes. And if you're listening to the pod, be sure to check out the YouTube channel sometime at cryptonewsalerts.net for the full premium experience with video. And of course, you can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Telegram, and TikTok. So wherever you're at, be sure to follow me there. But all right, now let's break down our final story of the day. Venture capital fund Zonte Capital launched yesterday with a focus on advancing hyperbitcoinization around the world through strategic investments in startups building the future of the Bitcoin economy. The fund's name alludes to Zonte, El Salvador, the city where the Bitcoin Beach community was founded to build a circular economy, leveraging Bitcoin and the Lightning Network, and later inspired by President Nayib Bukele to draft legislation to make Bitcoin a legal tender in the country. Now, the husband and wife stars of the Orange Pill Pod and RT host of the Keiser Report spearheaded the Zonte Capital firm, or EZCap for short, after living for the past 2 months in the coastal city and experiencing hands-on what a Bitcoin-based economy looks like. Quoting them here, Zonte is hyperbitcoinization. Hyperbitcoinization is economic freedom, and hyperbitcoinization is our main investment thesis, Keiser told Bitcoin Magazine. After experiencing what it actually looks like, we see this as an inevitable near future for everyone else. Now, hyperbitcoinization is the inflection point at which Bitcoin becomes the default value system for the world, and as more individuals and groups around the world realize the advantage of a borderless, censorship-resistant, and natively digital system for transacting value, a critical mass of users will eventually fuel currency demonetization and the replacement of our world's ingrained financial institutions, and world powers will more equitable, publicly driven system. The town of Zonte is arguably the most Bitcoinized municipality on the planet, with much local commerce conducted using Bitcoin. Keiser and Herbert have immersed themselves in the local scene, meeting with residents, business owners, and politicians at all levels, including the president, Bukele. We have been asking hard, deep questions to all of them and discussing their plans extensively. Herbert said, "This is the place to be." What a grand photo. As they say, a picture says 1,000 words. Now, Keiser and Herbert first started investing in Bitcoin companies back in 2013 and have since made venture investments in over 15 firms, including exchanges Kraken, Swan Bitcoin, and Bitfinex, security company Casa, payments firm BitPay, and payroll services company Bitwage. Now they want to further empower Bitcoin adoption by supporting companies building a future where Bitcoin and Lightning Network are an ever-increasing part of people's lives. The future is all around us, Keiser said. I haven't been this excited about Bitcoin since I first heard about Bitcoin, which was back in 2011. I know when he first started telling people to buy Bitcoin on the Keiser report. And guess what? Back then, Bitcoin was only $1. Easy Capital will begin with a $5 million committed capital seed stage fund. Keiser and Herbert are the firm's general partners, along with the founder of Swan Bitcoin and Bitcoin Ventures, Corey Clipson. The advisory board will include several of the most knowledgeable and connected Bitcoiners from around the world, according to the partners, quoting them here. We hope to facilitate a two-way exchange of ideas and resources with companies around the world bringing their products and services to El Salvador and companies based in El Salvador exporting their innovation to the rest of the world, Clipson said. Easy Cap's investment thesis is hyperbitcoinization, but the road to hyperbitcoinization will likely not be easy. The firm will focus on empowering companies, developing solutions around Lightning, payments, and the use of Bitcoin as savings technology. Now, Lightning rose to the global spotlight last year after El Salvador turned Bitcoin into a lawful currency that citizens could use in daily commerce, despite the common criticism that Bitcoin is unable to meet the requirements of a successful medium of exchange by creating payment channels off-chain. However, Lightning enables Bitcoin to scale and accommodate higher frequency transactions that are unfeasible on the base layer while ensuring they abide by the same rules. El Salvador is drawing in the smartest, most creative people, Herbert said. Jack Dorsey recently said that a big part of the future is happening in El Salvador, and he's not wrong. The future is now, and it's right here, and so are we. Now, Keiser explained that most tech hubs have three things in common: good education centers, access to capital, and entrepreneurs. Easy Capital will initially bring capital to the country's entrepreneurs as well as invite worldwide builders to go there and later look at education. We'll look at education and education technology to onboard as many people as possible. Keiser said El Salvador will be bigger than Singapore. So there you have it. El Salvador, El Zonte, let's freaking go. And much respect to Max Keiser and Stacy Herbert. And now for a quick recap of what I covered with you here in today's show. Bitcoin price circles $44,000 as analysts ask who remains to sell here. Also in today's show, we discussed traders say $4,000 Ethereum is back on the cards if this bullish chart pattern plays out. We also discussed FundStrat's Tom Lee explains how Bitcoin could hit $200,000, as well as breaking news: Max Keiser and Stacy Herbert launch Zonte Capital, an investment firm focused on companies paving the road to hyperbitcoinization. Where do you feel the Bitcoin price is likely to go next? Let me know in the comments right down below. Now for the top 3 comments from yesterday's episode. Glenn wrote, JV, your humility and generosity comes through in each show. You share good information and good vibes. Thank you for your contributions to our crypto world. Cheers, Glenn. Greatly appreciate your support, fam. Hodl. Our next featured comment comes from Chris Minko, who wrote, I'm super bullish on BTC. Number 1, we have Russia looking to cut energy costs for Bitcoin miners, along with an abundance of unused energy. With a record hash rate now, this only means more hash rate and game theory in play. And number 2, El Salvador bonds come online and will lock up a lot of supply, which is at a near record low on the exchanges. Supply shock in play. Record hash rate plus supply shock equals blow off top conditions in play. More bullish in 2022 than I was in 2021. And that says a lot. Hyperbitcoinization, let's freaking go. Now for our third and final featured comment comes from the Vosac, who wrote, love that you took that in stride. As far as plan B, I was on his hype train for 4 months of hit targets. All you need to know is that every 210,000 blocks, Bitcoin will be higher than it was the last time. We all know Bitcoin is inevitable. Facts. Thanks so much for tuning in, fam. Bitcoin to the moon. Let's go. And to be featured on tomorrow's episode, drop a comment right down below. Well, that's going to conclude today's show. As always, I appreciate you tuning in and journeying along with me inside this incredible crypto matrix. If you gain value out of today's show, be sure to smash that subscribe button and ring that bell to turn on all notifications and help me get to 100,000 subs. And I look forward to seeing you on tomorrow's episode. Peace.